What's up guys, Harris here, and today I'm with my friend Ben. He's got an iPhone 8 Plus that he's been using for about 2 months. I've got the iPhone 10 that I've been using for about 2 months. We're going to compare daily experience if you own one of these devices to really get a personal feeling for these two phones and which one might be right for you. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is just the size. So the iPhone 10 has the screen size that is bigger technically than the Plus, but it's in a very small and comfortable package, a little bit bigger than the iPhone 8, and it's very comfortable to hold. Like, I think for most people, I have pretty average hands. For most people, this is going to be totally fine in terms of the screen to body ratio. Ben, what's it like with that phone that's obviously much bigger?
Right, so the iPhone 8 Plus is obviously very cumbersome. Getting up to some of the corners and stuff, it can be kind of difficult depending on the size of your hand. Obviously, if you have a bigger hand size, this would be the great phone for you. I don't have too much problem with it myself. It's something that's just, you get comfortable with it as you use it.
Is it too heavy for you?
It's definitely markedly heavier than some of the other phones on the market, but it's not too bad.
Alright, but what about in terms of like fitting it in pockets? For a girl, that's probably going to be the case of putting it in a purse, but for you, what do you think about putting it in your pockets, back pocket, etc., fitting it in cup holders in your car and stuff like that?
Yeah, so that's the biggest problem that I see with it. It doesn't fit in my cup holder in my car, so I either have to kind of, rest it on the console or in the seat next to me. Definitely, obviously it depends on the kind of clothes that you wear. For me, sweats and stuff like that, it's fine because it's sweats, but khaki pants, jeans, stuff like that, it's a struggle. You definitely have to extend your leg when you want to get it in and out of your pocket.
And for the 10, it's really basically about the same as the 8 in terms of how it fits in pockets and stuff like that. Alright, so up next, I think a big thing is battery. So on here, I think this is better than both the 7 and the 8. Taking off the charger at around 6 a.m. I usually don't have to charge it again until 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., sometimes later, depending on how I use it. That's with pretty low brightness, but battery life has been solid. Nothing extraordinary, but solid. What about for you?
My battery life is exceptional. I can, at the same time as Harris, I'll wake up, unplug it about 6 o'clock, and I could honestly let it run until probably about midday the next day. I don't, because of school and stuff like that, I want to make sure I have a full charge. But there have been days when I'll fall asleep and forget to charge it, wake up, the phone's at, 20-30% in the morning, and that'll run me through my school day. So I don't have any problems whatsoever.
So for a battery champ, it's looking like the 8 Plus. Now, in terms of wireless charging, both have it. No differences there. So if you're looking for a battery, the 8 Plus does have that edge. Alright, so performance, these guys are the same. Do you have any issues with performance on your 8 Plus?
None whatsoever. Works very fast.
Alright, same here. So then the next big difference really would be the method of unlocking. You have the fingerprint scanner. Is it ever slow? Does it ever feel outdated? Is it, do you have any problems with using the fingerprint scanner still?
I don't have any problems. I jumped right from a 6 to the 8 Plus, and that, the technology is very advanced now, and I have noticed no problems whatsoever. It's very quick.
Yeah, so for this, I do miss the home button sometimes, just the tactile nature of it. Something more consistent. I've gotten used to the gestures on the 10, especially my favorite is the multitasking, just switching between apps really quickly. That works really well. I do miss the home button. I miss it for things like Siri instead of having to hold down the side button. But I think that you will get used to it. If you go to the 10, it won't be a huge deal. So in terms of color options, for this one, you can get this white color, or you can get the space gray, which looks basically the same as this, except it's got the stainless steel sides rather than the aluminum. So if you like the stainless steel, then this will be a good phone for you aesthetically. Otherwise, I still think the aluminum looks really good. Do you have a preference between the stainless steel and the aluminum?
I think it's just totally up to personal preference. I enjoy my phone. I like how it's a lot sleeker. I think the stainless steel and the white, I think it looks good, but it also stands out depending on the case that you use. For me, going caseless with this, I think it's very sleek with the black and the the gray accents on the sides.
I guess the next big thing would be price. So what did you pay for that?
$799
for
64 gigabytes.
For 64 gigs. All right, and I paid $1,200 for 256, but I could have paid $999 for 64 gigs. So you don't think this is worth $200 more when you're already paying that much?
I think it just depends. This whole video is based on preference, really. The size and the battery, and a little bit bigger of a screen. It just depends on the kind of person you are. Like if I was a person with ginormous hands, obviously you're going to be looking at something like this rather than that.
Yeah. Alright, so I think at the end of the day, this is about price. If you can afford this, I think you're probably going to want to get this. If you have really big hands, maybe you want a bigger phone, and therefore you'll accept the lower price. If you really like the home button and you want to stick there and don't feel like the learning curve of this. And then if you want that longer battery, this isn't bad, and I'm fine with charging it. But if you want to go through a full day really with no worries of ever having to charge it, these are all the benefits of this cheaper phone. But this is the bleeding edge technology because the cameras, the performance, Just about everything else is the same. But I guess it really comes down to price, home button, a learning curve, battery life, and then a tiny bit extra screen real estate. But you get something that's a bit cumbersome and hard to fit in everybody's pockets. But that's about it. So it's up to your preference. I want to know what you're leaning towards. Again, I think if you have the money, you're going to love this. But if you don't have the money and you're okay with the size of the 8 Plus, I think you'll really like it as well. It's really fast. Battery life is really good. Anyway, that's it for this video. Ben, thanks for helping me out. And I want to thank the sponsor of this, same as my iPhone 10 review, and you can check out my review of that. But it is Patchworks Cases, and they have some fantastic cases. Let's go ahead and run through some of their collection. So they've got a whole arsenal for the 10 and the 8 Plus, and I like each of them. There's the bumper, several variants of clear cases, a couple dual-layered cases, and some hard plastic ones that also work with a car mount if attached with a magnetic mount. If you want to check out any of these cases for your iPhone 8 Plus or your iPhone 10 or any other device, I'll leave a link in the description for all of those.